Today on the Carrie Campbell Show, I have the honor of interviewing Coley Arnold, who is empowering ambitious women to build businesses with clarity and confidence. She is the host of Tits Up podcast, the winner of the 2024 Women in Vision Award, and the owner of Foundress. Coley, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thanks,
it's so exciting to have you here. Oh my gosh. I feel like we have tried to connect multiple times over the last several months. And here we are. This is how we do it.
This is how we meet for the first time. We're just going all in. I love it.
It's my favorite thing. You know, before the show, we were obviously talking about how I don't really know much about you.
Yeah.
Like I know, the baseline, obviously, but I was like, I needed to get you on the show so I can actually dive in and get to know about how amazing you are.
Let's go.
So let me start. I'm going to start with the host of Tits Up podcast. Because, that's a call out right there. Yeah. Tits Up podcast. Tell me about that. Tell me about the name. Tell me about it. And then we'll go from there.
Okay. So have you seen Marvelous Miss Maisel? I will do a call out. It is a show all about this gal who's a comedian in the 50s. And she's trying to become this like woman in front of people, which was a no-no in the 50s. And so her agent kept going like, tits up, get on stage, you're going to do great. And so I kind of adopted it as my own personal motto. I have it tattooed on my wrist.
I love that.
And it kind of started a movement within Foundress, which is my community for female entrepreneurs. And we say it to each other like, don't doubt yourself, like shoulders back, head up, tits up, like go, you got this. And so when I was kind of brainstorming titles for my podcast name, I just kept going back to tits up. Like, what do I want this to be? And the funny thing is the word was actually originated as like, I think sailors, like old sailor, like British sailors. And it was when you were in trouble, like, oh, things have gone tits up, like in a bad way.
Right. I've heard of that.
And I was like, no, we're reclaiming this word. Right. We're going to, it's confidence, right? It's how you walk in the room, how you present yourself.
Love it.
Like we all have it inside of us. And so we get to call each other out in that and like support each other in that. It's just one word. And it's like, well, two words, like tits up, you got this. Like
it's kind of like a play on adjust your crown.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Exactly.
It's bold. It's a bold statement to have out there. I've over the last couple of months as I've been getting to know you in the online world, I've, watched some of your Instagram and all that stuff. And I love how you show up so unapologetically you. Like, I mean, it's, I think I was watching, you got new t-shirts or something, you got something in the mail and you were like, first thing in the morning, no makeup. And I think in social media, we lack that nowadays, that, behind the, the perfection of all the filters. So I really admire that when a woman shows up as herself comfortably and, puts herself out there. But I also know that most women don't get there without going through a journey to be able to put themselves vulnerably and authentically out there. So tell me a little bit about your journey to Foundress and Tits Up and being bold and brazen on social media the way you are.
Thanks. Thanks for calling that out, because I do feel like it has been a journey, really stepping into my boldness and my power, really, which is what I do help women do now. Right. And it does. Like, I feel like all of our passions start from something that happened internally or to us or with us. And so about 13 years ago, I started another business called Junk in the Trunk Vintage Market. And as we were building this business that we accidentally stumbled on, it was not meant to be a business. It was supposed to be something fun. And it really started snowballing and getting big. And I kept going, where are the women that have done the thing that I want to do? Like I couldn't find them. We would go to networking events, and I love men. I have 4 boys. I'm married to an amazing man. And I would come across these men in the networking events, and they were like, oh, how's your little market? How's your little business? And I was like, fuck. Can I say fuck?
You can say whatever you want on the Carrie Campbell Show. Roll with it.
Like, fuck you, I'm making more money than you. What do you mean, how's my little business? And so it was just like, I felt like there's got to be a better way.
For sure.
So we created Foundress, and it was supposed to be, like an accidental business. Like it was supposed to be a community for us to have support as we were building our other businesses. I found that my heart and my desire was really just to support the women. Mm-hmm. So last year we sold all of our other businesses. I went all in on Foundress.
Amazing.
And what I found was for that year, I was hiding behind my brand. I was like, it's really hard to judge a whole community of women. Right. Like you can judge me all you want, but like when I put it as like, I am the owner of Foundress and that's who I am. And I was really trying to like just hide behind this big brand. And about 6 months ago, I was reading this book, Simply Be by Jessica Zweig. And she was talking about like your personal brand and how do you like step out and why it's important to have a personal brand. And it was really this aha moment of, oh, I've been hiding and I can't serve the women that I want to serve without being super vulnerable and honest.
For sure.
And that comes with it's scary, right? To step out in that way. Yeah.
I mean, I now know why we were introduced.
I love
it is so clear to me right now in this moment why, we're in this world. And, I find that there are moments and there are people where there's just an effortless connection. Yeah. And, we connected a couple of months ago for my Legacy List event and you couldn't make it. Yes. But we just come back around to certain people who, you have that alignment with. And even what you were saying about men, I always say that I'm all for women, but not at the expense of men.
Absolutely.
And it's nice and refreshing to come across that, because it's not about taking a shot at men, but for women in the space as founders, as owners, having our own network and community of women where we can rise up together, I think is so important. And I love that. I love what you've created for that. So tell me a little bit, or tell us about Foundress. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
What does the makeup of Foundress exactly?
Well, I love what you said. And I never want anything that I do or say to be at the expense of men. Obviously, like I said, I have 4 boys. They're ranging between ages 17 and 6. So I have the whole gamut of kind of raising children. And I want these boys to be witness to women are fucking awesome, right? And also so are they, right? Yeah. And it's not, and I think the problem with feminism that we've had lately is, to go real deep here, but is that we're trying to fight so hard to just get here that it's almost like I don't even know how to explain this without offending someone, because I'm sure
it's okay. You can offend someone. Okay. It's okay.
But it's like we're because we're starting here, we have to fight our way to the top, and all we're asking is for equality, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that Foundress kind of came out of this need of like, where are the women who've done the things?
Yeah.
And also as women, we have a whole nother layer of like, men are incredible at business. I learned so much from men about business, and they don't have all the things going on in their brains that we as women carry.
Right.
And there's an emotional weight and heaviness that we carry around for all of the people in our lives, right?
Totally.
And so to be able to talk to another woman who gets it, like my husband's my biggest supporter,
right.
And he's like, I thought about what I was going to eat for lunch. I can't relate to what you're saying.
What was the one thing you were thinking right now?
Like,
exactly.
My business coach did this exercise, and I thought it was so powerful. She asked all of her team. She worked at Banner. She was the vice president of innovation at Banner. And her team was a mix of male and female, but mostly men. And she said, I want you to write down everything you think through the day. Like, just write it down. It doesn't matter if it's like, what do I need to pick up for the grocery store? My underwear is uncomfortable. Like, whatever it is that you're thinking, just write it down. And the next day they came and she had 6 pages of notes for herself. And the men had like 5 lines. And they're like, this is a lie. Like, there's no way you thought that many things.
Right.
And she goes, I want you all to call your wives right now and ask them if this is true. And they were all like, we had no idea. They're like, we appreciate our wives so much more. We had no idea.
Because I think one of the things as human beings is we always only have our perspective.
Yeah.
So you can't have the perspective of someone else until you open your eyes
Absolutely.
up. You said so much there and so many different things that I want to dive into. So the first thing I'm going to say is just a comment. Yeah. You're talking about like all the things that as women we hold in our minds. Yeah. And interestingly enough, we're filming for the next couple of days and we're filming in my hometown and I'm staying in a hotel. And I was talking to my husband about it. And I was like, you have to understand is that if I'm at home, I'm going to wake up and it's going to be like, I have to take the dogs out, even though he would take the dogs out, but it's going to be on my mind. And then I need to clean the counters because let's face it, we're women, we clean the counters. And so I needed to actually remove myself from all of those multitude of thoughts in order to make sure that I was singularly focused. So I love that you said that. Going back to the feminism, the comment that you made, and I think you and I are very aligned on that. And I think you're right. It's always a little bit of a temperamental topic to dive into because of the fear of offending someone. Right. But I'm just curious to know what you think about this because, I was at an event several years ago and the event, it's a very big networking event here in Arizona, and they had a women's panel.
Okay.
And there's 5 women on the panel. And I'm watching the event and, the leader of the event, he was like this, we want to raise women up and all that stuff. And bless his soul, I love him. He's a dear friend of mine. But on the women's panel, I'm going to call her out, Robin Robbins.
Okay.
She's amazing. Shout out to her. They were asking, what do you think about the panel? What do you think about this? And she sat there and she said, well, I think the fact that we have a women's panel is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Why are we not on the panel with the men?
Right.
And I was like, boom, mic drop. Because for me, I get it. They're trying to, they're elevating. And her point was, but by elevating us to be on our own panel, you're actually segregating us from the collective of all of us. So I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
And our poor our poor men can't get it right. I mean, they really just can't. Yeah. They're kind of screwed.
Sure.
But I do think like there is an importance of making sure that women's voices are heard. And I really don't think anyone can get it right now. I think that we've had years and years and years of doing it wrong.
Sure.
And so we get offended. Yeah. We're sensitive. It's a different culture right now. I totally agree with what she's saying. Yeah. And also like our poor guys, like they just can't get it right. Yeah. And I think I struggle with that even just having a women's networking group. Cause I'm like, is that even causing that problem? And what I've kind of just resolved into is like, there's things that women deal with that men don't, that it's just so nice to be able to be in a room with other women that go, I get it. Like I'm here with you. I get it.
I agree.
And so I guess I've resolved that with myself of like, okay, this is why we're doing this. Yeah. But I do believe like, I wish the presidency had a man and a woman at top. You know, I wish I wish it was equal. Yeah. Men and women, only because we are different and we bring different things to the table. And I think they're both important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we're aligned so much on this. Like, and even myself, you know, when I mean, I've been coaching for 25 years and men and women, but I always find myself coming back primarily to women and, you know, kicking off my movement, the No Woman Left Behind. Yeah. I've had a lot of questions from my past clients who are male. Yeah. You know, what about us? And I'm like, I'm not trying to exclude you. Right. I've just chosen that I really want to go all in for the women in the world and for myself. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah. And I was just having a conversation with my husband. I was like, honestly, I think men desperately need Foundress for themselves as well. Yeah. It wouldn't be called Foundress because that means female founder. But I think there is a lack for our men. They don't have as much opportunity to have those deep conversations. When they network, it's about business. They're playing golf. They're going and grabbing a beer. We're just different. We're able to connect and we build those long lasting relationships.
Absolutely.
That then it might not be a quick sale like right that day, but we build these relationships that over the years, like we're going to be loyal to each other because we have that relationship. So it's a different type of networking. And I kind of crave that for our men.
For sure.
I think they're lonely. But like you said, we have to pick a lane. Everyone says like niche down.
I mean,
like,
you do, right? Exactly.
I can't be everything for everyone. So I'm going to focus on my women because I do feel like there's I think women are missing the permission. They need to give themselves the permission to step out, be bold, be brave, go chase your dreams.
Absolutely.
Go do it.
Absolutely. I just love everything you just said. Let's take not a pivot, but let's shift into talking about identity for a second. Because that's, you know, a lot of what I do is around identity and who you are. You need to shift who you are in order to achieve what you want, you know, and achieve your goals. And I know that you've gone through some identity shifting in your own life, and there's no question to achieve what you've achieved in your life, you've had to transform from who you were to who you are now. I mean, you just went through it in the last 6 months. Yeah. So talk to us about, if you can go back, what was the most significant identity shift? Like, did you ever have a moment where you're in front of the mirror and you're basically going, who is this? Yeah. And I need to change. Have you gone through that?
Gosh, that's such a hard question. I mean, a great question. I think I wish there was a magic button that I could sell. I mean, we'd be bajillionaires. Yeah. Like, here, push this button and you
or the USB that you can put in your, exactly.
Reset, right? I wish that would happen. And I think people ask me all the time, like, what's the key to success? And I'm like, it's fucking personal growth. Like there's no, you could have all the strategy and all the answers to every question you had in business, and you would still be stuck. Yeah, because you're not developing. And so and it sucks because it's the hardest work.
It is.
I don't want to do
it. I know.
I don't want to talk about my feelings.
It's so true.
I don't want to work on myself. Like it's hard.
It's
hard work. So I think that's what separates the successful with the unsuccessful, is that the people who are willing to do the work on themselves. And I think with tying it back to identity, it's like you have to act, and you said this earlier, which I think is so important, and I hope everyone hears this, is that you have to become someone different to call in what you want. You can't be in the same spot. Yeah. And that's a hard part. You have to step. It's like you have to take those steps. Like there's no floor underneath you. It's like kind of being placed as you walk, right? Yeah. And you just have to trust and you have to walk. And what you're trusting is yourself. And that's fucking hard.
It is. It's scary.
It's scary.
It is. You know, my daughter always says to me, she always says, Mom, everything you teach is like, it's great, but it's so much easier said than done. And I'm like, absolutely. I know. Yes. I know it is.
Totally.
You know, so interestingly, so pulling back to what you were talking about with regards to women need permission it's scary to take that step and become something new. And it's like, so that there's such a nuance of that matrix because, you know, one of the things that I see a lot is when I encourage women to set goals and set their vision and craft their vision. And, you know, if they're here, they kind of target here instead of going here. And so who they need to shift to become, to move to that level really isn't that significant.
Correct.
So I always say to women, like, if you don't need to change who you are to get what you want, it's not big enough.
Correct.
And you're capable of so much more. But that's where that challenge comes, that women need permission to give themselves permission. That's like Foundress and, you know, what I do is so important to give women permission to go do that. So if you had a woman in front of you at Foundress and that was their situation, like they, you know, they want to go, but they're holding themselves back. They can't shift into who they want to be because they're not giving themselves enough permission. What would you tell them?
I mean, we have it in ourselves. And I kind of need to come up with a different term because I feel like giving permission, we have to give ourselves permission.
Totally.
Because we could all, and I think that's why community is so important, is because you need to hear it a million times from someone else before you can really take that step for yourself. And so, but really it's coming from inside. Like you don't need permission from anyone else, right? You need that encouragement and support, but like it needs to come from inside. And until it comes from inside, you're not doing shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? You're not changing.
100%. You know, I always say to people, like, you know, especially like in relationships where someone's cheated on someone and I don't trust her, I don't trust him. And you're making the mistake of thinking you need to trust them. You need to trust yourself. Yeah. You need to trust that you're going to know when to walk away. You're going to know. And so I think trusting ourselves, giving ourselves permission can be the hardest thing to do because like you said, it is scary. And, you know, one of the things that I've observed, and, you know, I'm not obviously, you know, familiar yet. Notice I said yet with Foundress the way I want to be. But one of the things that I've observed as leaders in the industry is that sometimes, yes, it's about what we share and the information we give, but it's really how we're showing up. And by giving someone permission to be themselves. I had someone once tell me, I went to an event. It was a very conservative event, and clearly I'm not so conservative. And the person who was hosting the event, a good friend of mine, he said, you know, I love that you show up as you are. And it's not that everybody here wants to run out and go get tattoos or dye their hair pink, because my hair was pink back then. But he goes, you give people permission to choose themselves.
Absolutely.
So as a leader in the space, obviously I see you do that on social media, but what would you say is like an important message to women? If you're telling them, choose yourself, I want to give you permission, stepping into yourself, what would you tell them?
Gosh, so many things. I was actually just listening to Jen Gottlieb's book, Be Seen. And I don't know if
love her.
I did too. Read that, but she was talking about like, no one is going to have a really unique idea. Like there's
all
gonna
DJs.
None
of us are artists. We're all DJs. Yeah.
Like there's going to be a million other people like you.
For sure.
And the only thing that differentiates you is your story. And a lot of times we try to hide our story because it's messy and it's ugly. And we don't want to be vulnerable and be like, hey, I really fucked up like a lot.
Yeah.
And and then, you know, then there's transformation, which is nice, but also the fuck up is still happening.
Yeah.
Like we're not all of a sudden like, oh, we're aligned and perfect. And now
we're never aligned.
We never have problems, right? Like it's like every single day you're like stepping into a new map that you're like navigating. And so I just like, you are the magic to what you do. It's not what you do. It's who you are. Yeah. And I think until people realize that and understand that the mess and the honesty and the vulnerability that is their life. Yeah. Until we can have that and see that, like you're just like everyone else.
Yeah. I love that.
Right? There's no difference between all, you know, like in any industry.
I so agree. And it's one of the things you know, for the years in the industry, 2 decades in the industry for me, I strive to bring that inclusivity where I show the behind the scenes. Yeah. Because for me, you know, anybody who's familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs for self-actualization, we know that safety is the second one. We need to feel safe as human beings. Yeah. And as, you know, as leaders, as coaches, as visionaries, when we put that truth out there, what some people don't realize is you're actually providing safety for other people to feel like they're okay as well.
Absolutely. And I was just telling someone this the other day. I was like, you know, like fashion shows when they come in on the runway and they're wearing these things that you're like, no person in their right mind would ever actually wear that. Yeah. But it's giving them permission to be bold. Yeah. And so then they're like, okay, well, I'll buy the skirt and then I'll wear it with the turtleneck and boots, right? I'm not going to wear like see-through shirt, whatever. But like that is the vision and the inspiration. And as thought leaders in our industries, I feel like it's our responsibility really to show that of like, we're not perfect. We're far from perfect.
For sure.
But if we can step out in that vulnerability and in that mess, that's what people are going to relate to. They don't want some perfect person that's, like all tucked in whatever.
Sure. Well, because it sends a wrong message.
Correct.
For me, it sends the message, if you're sending the message of perfection. So me, being a human performance coach, specializing in mindset,
right.
That's such a destructive thing to do, because you're setting this air of perfection. And then when somebody's not able to meet that air of perfection, you're actually ingraining a deeper narrative that I'm not good enough, I'm broken, et cetera, et cetera.
But I'm curious how you feel about this, because I feel like part of the reason why I was hiding behind my brand is because I felt like, who am I? Who the hell do I think I am to tell you how to live your life and to run your business when I'm over here like crying in the corner in the fetal position, right? But until I started actually telling people that that's what was going on behind the scenes, then they were like, "Oh my God, me too, girl."
Yeah,
like we got this, and then it was relatable, and then they're like. I remember a Foundress meeting, and I was sitting next to one of the gals, and she's an incredible lawyer. She's like a badass, like full, just everything you would imagine of like this badass female lawyer, super successful. And I said, well, I'm not trying to lead anyone. I'm just trying to like get everyone together in a community. And she goes, why? She's like, I need you as my leader. I was like, you do? What do you mean? That. But she's like, because you're telling us the truth.
Yeah.
And she's like, there's a lot of people out there showing us what we could be in the future if we're perfect, but that's not relatable.
Well, it's not even possible.
It's not possible.
It's one of the things I always say when I'm talking about consistency. Like the second you say to someone consistency, they think perfection. And I'm like, no, consistency is not perfection. Consistency is waking up tomorrow and trying again and trying again and trying again. And so, I mean, I for me personally, I've always been very comfortable being transparent, but for sure, the older I've gotten, I mean, I think that there's something that happens like when you hit 40. I don't know how old you are.
I just turned 41. And like, it was like the day
you're
I turned
done
40,
with all the bullshit.
Fuck you all.
I'm like, I don't care. Like,
what do you think?
It's like I was telling a friend of mine who, she was in her 30s, and I was like, just wait till you turn 30, because once you're 40, once you're 40, you're just like, fuck the world, I'm done.
Well, you
like, get out of my way.
It's like the count up. And then you hit 40 and you're like, oh, we're counting down.
Yeah,
and what do I want my world to look like? That you get one chance at this life. Why are we wasting it hiding behind whatever? Like be bold, be brave, be you. And I think that was, and I think just as the thought leaders, like back to that, like our role is to inspire and encourage. And if we're inspiring this like fake life, and then we're, it's interesting you say that, because it was actually Jen Gottlieb. I was at an event in Miami several months ago, and I'm not going to remember the word she used. I've been telling this story all week, and I'm not going to remember the word she used, but she was talking about social media presence, and she was talking about how authenticity is the game, right? And I was at an event one time where someone was actually talking about authenticity as a strategy. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're missing the point. Right.
You can't strategize authenticity. No. But Jen was saying, there's a lot of people who are out in the space and they're authentic.
Yeah.
So, but they're not necessarily that person behind the scenes either. So she used the example of Howard Stern. Like Howard Stern on radio is one person that's not who he is behind the scenes. I'm friends with Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper, who he is on stage versus who he is in the boardroom, are two different people. They're both the authentic version of himself. But Jen was saying, authenticity is one thing and it's great. But if you can show up across all of the fields of your life in the integrity of that one person. And I'm not going to remember the word. There was a word she used, but the alignment and every environment you show up in, that's just who you are. She goes, it gets that much easier. And I think that's a lot of where we need to give ourselves permission. Like, this is me. And you're going to love me. You're going to hate me. I'm going to attract you or I'm going to repel you. But there is going to be a woman out there who I'm going to change your life, and I think that's, that's the important part, right? Leading like that.
And I think if we can keep that focus of like, it's just, if I can have one person, I started a podcast, like we talked about, you're starting a podcast, like we're not doing this for, I mean, it's fun, right? We love it.
For sure.
Also like this message is so important. And I think if you could just hit one person, like that book did for me. Like it changed my life. Like if she knew, well, I'm sure she does, but like if this changed one person's life, like worth it, worth all the work.
100%.
And that's what I think the call out for everyone listening is, like, you're listening to the show because you are desiring more in your life, whether it's business, life, whatever it is. Like you're listening this because you want to change. And that's why we listen to podcasts this. And so basically we're trying to tell you, like, you have permission
Yeah.
Right? You have permission. You just need to take the action.
Yeah. I love it.
Like no one can do that for you.
For sure. I mean, I love it. I could go 20 different directions right now. I'm loving this. So I actually want to go this way. Let's talk vision. So I'm a really big believer in vision. Vision for me and goals are not the same thing.
Yep.
So vision for me is the long term, what am I playing for? Goals are the metrics along the way. So what is the vision for Foundress in the coming, year, 2 years, 3 years? Like, what's the big vision? Yeah. Where do you see that going?
My big vision is for every single female founder to have the support in the community that she needs. Period.
Simple. Love it. Simple. I love it. The simplicity of it. That's it's so amazing. Okay. So let's play let's kind of take a little bit of a shift for a second here. So I want to know first, what does a day in the life of Coley look like?
Oh gosh.
I had that thought, like you were talking before, and I was like, I want to know what a day, and this is really important because people who are listening right now, women who are listening, Foundress, like badass over here, Tits Up podcast, women and we, even as we're sitting here talking about, the crying in the corner, the fetal position, I know that there's the women out there who are listening that and are only seeing what we're presenting. Right. So a day in the life. Yeah. What does it look like?
So I've tried to do this on social media like 1,700 times.
Me too.
And I get like 2 photos in and then I forget. And I'm like, damn it.
I can't even do my meals in a day.
Yeah, totally. So I have 4 boys. Like I said, I have a senior this year. So this year is looking a little different. I am really pausing. I worked really, really hard all summer to set my business. I think this is really important, so I'm going to share it. I had someone inspire me. I'm a manifesting generator. I love to do different shit. I get really bored, so I'm like pivot.
Right.
And I kept saying what do I want this business to look like in 10 years? And that felt trapped. And so I couldn't nail it down. And I heard a podcast and James Wedmore, it was him saying my business isn't here to entertain me. It's here to get me money so that I can go entertain myself. And it was such an aha. And so I've taken that to heart. So this summer I spent all summer head down, built 2 websites, finalizing my framework of my business. So it's set, no more changing, no more so that has freed me up to do what I really love to do. Oh. And so my days now, I'm able to be available for my kids, be present with my kids. Like I said, my son's a senior, so I'm not missing anything. We do football games 4 nights a week. That we're all in. I'm a cheer coach. So days a lot look like I am managing my team. Definitely still crying in the corner every once in a while, but less. It's getting less and less.
It gets less. That's the whole goal, ladies, just for it to get less and less. Exactly.
That's your goal. No, but I think it is just if my vision is empowering women, if I'm not face-to-face with women, I can't do that.
For sure.
And so really just trying to get more of that relationship time in. So meeting people for coffee, finding out what they're what people in the Valley are doing in their businesses, how I can support them. So that's really, and then at 2:00, it's a hard stop and I am mom.
I love it.
And I love it.
I love it. I love that you brought that up because it stood out to me. I was hosting that event. I was going to say what month it was because I don't even know what month we're in right now. So I hosted that event several months ago and, Legacy List and you had confirmed you were coming, but then you got back to me and you said, actually, my son has something that evening that, I wanted to be at. And I remember thinking to myself, that's so rare to hear. I so rarely hear women choosing where they really want to be, and being okay to say, no, I don't want to attend this because I want to put my son or so it's a little bit of a catch-22 there because I think women, don't put themselves first. Yeah. But what you've done is you have reverse engineered it by putting yourself first the way you have. Yeah. Now you've aligned yourself to be able to put your family first. Yeah. And that is choosing what you want. And it really stood out to me because I don't see that very often.
And it's so hard as an ambitious woman, being in that room with you would have been amazing for my business.
For sure.
So every part of me wanted to be in that room for you. Right. So to say no was really hard. But I always tell my clients when I coach them, I'm look at your calendar and I'll know, if I can see your calendar, I'll know your values. Yeah. And that, I say that to myself every day as I'm putting things in my calendar and going, but my value this year is to be with my son. And so if I say yes to this, I have to say no to this. Yeah. And it's hard. Yeah. And also knowing that if I say no to something, it might slow my growth a little bit. Yeah. I had to turn down a really awesome opportunity to be in a mastermind that I know will grow my business. Because I didn't want to take the time. Yeah. Yeah. And it's choosing my value of being a mom is first and then my business. Yeah. And so knowing I'm in this for the long game, I'm not going anywhere. Right. So if my business takes 10 years to grow instead of 4 years to grow, okay, great. So be it. Yeah. obviously I want massive growth and I want to have those milestones in my business. And I don't want to look back and go, fuck, I missed it. I missed my kid.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you said something that is a conversation I have with myself often and all of the people I work with who are elite performers. Because one of the things that I struggle with is the balance of all of it. Like, you know, sometimes I always say you have to take from one goal and give to the next. So I'm a professional bodybuilder, plus, you know, I have my business, plus I'm building the No Woman Left Behind movement, plus I'm a mom, plus I'm a wife, all of these things. And so sometimes it's like, okay, I'm on the road a lot, coming home to Arizona. Do I miss my workout and go and have dinner with my family? And it's like that kind of like that shifting around those priorities. And so as an elite performer, which you obviously are, have you struggled with that?
Every day.
And how do you navigate through it?
Every day. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. And both things can be true. Like I desperately want my business to grow. Like I do. And I desperately want to not miss my kid. And so it's every day looking at the options and the opportunities and going, okay, what's the most important to my soul? And then choosing that every time. And it's every single day. And it's not a no. Like, I think that's what people get stuck with is like, if I say no to this, I have to say no to everything. You're like, well, no. It's like every single day you're recommitting to whatever your values are, right?
Yeah,
it's a no right now. And there's going to be, it's going to be a long time because I have a 6-year-old, but there's going to be a day that I can go to every single event and I'm going to love it. And it's going to be like, I'm going to be like the best version of myself, right? Because I am going to be choosing me and my business, which is awesome. And there's going to be a day when my kids are gone and I'm going to go, oh my gosh, I would just kill to like cancel an event so I could snuggle my kid on the couch, right?
For sure, yeah.
So it's just those like everyday choosing, and it sucks. Like I am a Enneagram 7. I am a manifesting generator. I love being with people. I can't do small talk. If we have coffee next to each other, I'm like, what's your deepest, darkest secret? And how's your heart?
I'm so with you.
Know, like I can't
I was never the soccer mom because of that.
I can't do the bullshit. So, but like there is some missing out on that
for sure
when I'm choosing something else.
Yeah.
But again, it's like choosing and aligning. Like I still can't say no fully. So I'm the cheer coach at my son's school. I have 4 boys. None of them are in cheer. We were doing tryouts, and you'll appreciate the story. One of the moms was like, oh my gosh, I'm so cool that Coley would be a cheer coach, even though she doesn't have kids on the team. And one mom goes, well, that's because she wanted someone to cheer for her boys. And I was like, what? I was like, this is the problem with our world. But I was like, you're missing the point. Like, actually, my mission is to empower women. And so if I'm going to be on the like on the field with my son, watching my son, I'm going to be empowering young girls at the same time. Right.
I love it.
So like, I'm still saying yes to my mission. It just looks different.
For sure.
And so how do you find, what is your mission? And I was just having this conversation yesterday. Like we often lead with what we do. And I want to rewrite that script for myself and for others of like, what's your mission in life?
Yeah.
And then how do you implement that in everything you do?
I absolutely love it.
Even when I'm raising my children, I'm like, how do we empower women, boys?
I love it.
This is how we do this.
You know what? That was such a powerful end, you know, to like the collective of every part of your life feeds in to your purpose.
Yeah.
And obviously you being your highest purpose, but then everything trickling down from there. It's incredible. Absolutely amazing. I could sit here and talk to you for another 3 hours. So
well, I'll have you on my podcast.
There you go. We'll
just
keep it going.
Yes.
We'll just keep trading off. So before we close out, how about you tell everybody where we can find you?
Okay, awesome. The best way is my Instagram. It's just at Coley Arnold, Coley. And then I have my website is coleyarnold.com. If you're interested in Foundress, we have an Instagram at found.ress.
Awesome. Yeah. Wonderful. And then closing comments. So to the ladies out there, what's the last thing you would leave them with before we close out? Last inspiring words from Tits Up podcast host.
I guess my last inspiring words needs to be tits up. Like go do it. Go do the thing. Chase your dreams. The world needs you. You're being selfish by holding back.
Absolutely love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
This was so fun.
Your next level doesn't wait. So don't just listen, move. Share this episode, tag me at the Carrie Campbell _experience, and join us inside the No Woman Left Behind movement. Until next time, hold the vision, trust the process, commit to today so we can redefine, reclaim, and rise together.